There we go. I believe we are live. Robin?
We are live. Welcome. Sarah, would you like to open the meeting, please? Sarah Jane? Sorry.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the OpenJS Foundation's public session of the board meeting today. We are kicking off. It is 8:40 a.m. Pacific time on September 23rd, 2022. And I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Great. Thanks, Sarah Jane. Okay, let's jumping in. Hi, this is Robin again. Quick agenda overview. We're going to just re-meet some of our new board members. We have a CPC update, a standards working group update, update on events and marketing, and training and certification. So I'm going to jump right in. So we have some new faces from last month. We had elections recently, and we had, and we also have some folks who couldn't make it today and sent their regrets. But again, I want to welcome Sarah Jane Whitfield from Google, Abby from GitHub, Paula at Nearform. Paula couldn't make it today. And Mateo, one of our new CPC director. So great to have all your new faces. And I know you've already been a part of the community, so we've been really benefiting from all your great ideas already. So cool. Quick. Okay, CPC update. The other Sarah. So we've got Sarah Jane and Sarah Chips.
Yeah, thank you. Short update this time. We had one meeting last month because I think it was a perfect storm of folks traveling and being out. So we had one meeting last month, no big changes requiring board approval. We're continuing to do the work, planning OpenJS world and thinking about sessions and things like that. We had one working session for clarifying the voting processes. And one big action item in front of us is there's a lot of open issues with, like small follow-ups that people need to do or just things that we need to resolve. So we're focused on closing a bunch of those up before we move on and kick off new projects.
Well, thanks. Yeah, on the clarifying the voting process, I think we found that some of our governance is super great, but sometimes it's super complex, and you have to reread it like 5 times to really kind of understand. So we're just trying to, I think, simplify things and make it a little more clear for folks, or at least a version of. So great, thanks. Standards Working Group. We're lucky to have Jory back to visit us today. She's now the Vice President of Standards at the Linux Foundation, our former community director. So Jory will continue to play a leadership role. She's been chairing the Standards Working Group for the last 3 years and will continue to do so. Yeah.
So I'm excited to be here to give you this update today. We have a lot of different things that we work on, but this month we had been getting ready for, and now they've just concluded some meetings of the W3C's technical plenary, which was in Vancouver for the first time in a couple of years, and then also TC39 had an online plenary last week. If you're interested in what happened or maybe what was discussed or kind of follow up there, come to our next standards team meeting on Tuesday of the 27th, I believe, and you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth or watch the recording later. We also had to cast our ballot for the W3C Board of Directors. This is exciting news because the W3C is planning to form its own legal entity, and they're electing 7 folks from the business and developer community to serve as the inaugural board. So that was great. There are a lot of really good candidates there, and we hope to learn soon who won. The committee is also working on some concise guides. So this was kind of inspired by the OpenSSF's new concise guides to different types of security. So we're going to follow that pattern. We think it works really, really well. They're little one-pager type documents that let people know exactly kind of what they need to know, and then give them the ability to drill down if they want to learn more. So we're going to do that for different goals that people might have when it comes to influencing or participating in web standards. And we've got a great first couple of drafts going for that, and hope to be able to finish those up and share with you all and the community very soon. And then last but not least, we have a new public calendar of web standards events, because what we find in many cases is meetings conflict because these groups don't necessarily always coordinate with one another. TPAC and TC39 being last week being the same, the great example of this problem. So we hope to provide a space where the leaders of our different communities can post, hey, we've got a meeting planned for this week, and make a more informed decision about whether that's going to cause a conflict. So if you have a meeting, a conference, or some important deadline related to web standards, let's get it added to the shared calendar and help increase the visibility and coordination of these types of events so we can all, participate. And that is our update for this month. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Any questions? It's an amazing group. Love it. Okay, quick update on events. We've had some events hit that I had mentioned that we have been working on so far. I participated in a podcast that's live with Ken Lane at Postman. So that was sort of fun to see. Maybe I'll go chronological a little bit. I was really thrilled to participate in the Wix Developer Conference in New York. Wix has a huge community with meetups around the world, and they're opening up their platform for more open source technologies and open sourcing more of theirs. It was on human-centered development with some ISV partners and one of the maintainers on their dev team. So that was quite interesting, and you can watch that on YouTube. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Grace Hopper in the next slides. And then just for our radar, we're still working on the details for the Open Source and Finance Forum. We have a lot of balls in the air, meaning we have a lot of people who want to participate in FinOS. The FinTech Open Source Foundation at the Linux Foundation is working on finalizing our space. And as soon as we're back from Grace Hopper, we'll have a program committee meeting and talk about how we want to sort of curate that as well. Also had some conversations with some of the financial companies here at Grace Hopper, and they're wanting to sort of build from that and do some other piggyback events in New York on December 8th or 7th and 8th. So if it's something you're interested in participate in, definitely give me a shout. And we have China on the horizon. Again, I'm still expecting that to be virtual. So just quickly, the Grace Hopper Open Source Day was a virtual event this year. It was kind of a day zero. It was Friday. It was open to all of the registered attendees, which were 30,000. I know the co-chairs are really encouraging Anita B. next year to make it freely available to anybody who wants to participate, not just ticket holders. We're trying to get meetings with those folks. But first, like Nodejs was sort of the probably what the most popular project for Open Source Day. We had asked the organizers to sort of cap it at 75. And in the first 24 hours for registration, we had almost 300 people register. So, and we did notice some folks registered for other things. So we're asking people to sort of spread out a little bit. We had about 120 on our Slack channel throughout the day, 75 solid through most of the day, and probably even more come or go. Paula Paul sort of anchored the hackathon along with Rich and Franzi and Danielle. So really couldn't have done it without them. We had many volunteers. If you look at Rich Trott's tweet, he thanked many folks. I think we had about 10 volunteers and mentors, including new folks from the community. So we had like 14 breakout rooms going, depending on level and issue they were working on, 20 open pull requests, some great feedback. I love some of the things that we heard. So that was pretty cool. I also participated in an open source game where we did a mock White House hearing. And I played the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, with 10 of my CISO attendees. And we did a sort of a mock hearing. And so I learned a lot from participating in that, as well as sort of being one of the leaders on that. That was pretty cool. And then we hosted a happy hour, which was a great way to connect with the open source community. But yeah, I think going forward next year, I think we're finding that there's a huge demand, I think, for folks for learning and for hackathons and early career and learning how to contribute in a real hands-on way. So we're looking at perhaps maybe do we partner with universities, LF training, learning more about these co-op days that some tech companies have and some businesses have their IT departments with universities. But even folks I've met who participated who are maybe in the first five years of their career were participating in the hackathon that I met. So I feel like we've built these wonderful inclusive communities under the OpenJS umbrella. And I think it's ready to sort of bring more folks in. And, I think we need to do it more than once a year, I think is my key point. And then our conference this week, we've been here, Sarah Chips and Paula Paul and I have been participating at the conference, speaking, staffing our booth, and just learning so much from the attendees. It's just phenomenal. If you look at, there's one photo here of, this is just one open source breakout room. The line, that's just only half the line. It kind of went almost out the building for folks to get in, where they had to actually cut it off. So again, a great demand. Dan, did you see my little Easter egg that's not so hidden? The Brooklyn JS pin that someone came to show. Where's Dan?
I'm right here. I'm staring at the pin. Yeah, I think I see the pin.
Those are her favorite events that she'd attend. So go Dan. But on the flip side, there's still a lot of work to be done. Lots of stories that are frustrating and sad and make me mad still that we haven't made as much progress, I think, as we should. There's this one wall on what advice do you have for women in tech? And there's one circle that says, don't be afraid of men. And I'm still hearing a lot of women dropping out after freshman year. I'm hearing it from them, freshman year of university, early career, afraid to speak out. So I think we have a long ways to go. I love our communities, but I think it's really intimidating when they look at it. I feel like they need more of a direct reach out. So I think it's something I want to keep talking about with our CPC and with this group on how we can bring more of these awesome women. 15,000 women on the floor, and it's just like goosebumps to have conversations all day long. Pretty amazing. Abby, I was thinking maybe we could partner with GitHub as well. I think there's some things we can do for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about it in our in-person meeting.
Cool. Again, it's the other thing I think is pretty cool is just seeing the industry at this event and all the work they're doing in open source from companies like John Deere and governments and things like that. So it's pretty cool to see. Sarah, do you have anything to add? I know you're here. Sarah Chips.
Yeah, I've had a great experience this week too. One thing that's been tough, I think, and different about the conference this year is what I'm hearing is that there are a few companies, ours included, that we're not calling it a hiring freeze, we're calling it like a hiring chill or something. I don't know what we're calling it. And so the crowd here is a lot of college students looking for their first role. And I think one thing I've heard is just a lot of concern for what the market's going to look like when they graduate. Another thing I'm hearing, another thing that's super interesting is talking to folks and hearing that a lot of what they're hearing is folks that have internships at larger companies, specifically Meta and Instagram, who have existing offers and are just saying things like, man, I just don't want to go back there. I just can't. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to have the same experience as my internship, and I really need something different. So yeah, I think it's been really cool to see all the women. One thing that's been really neat for me as well is seeing all the very senior women. That's not an experience I've really had. It's just seeing women in very senior roles and being able to talk to them and having it accessible to them is very cool. But I think there's definitely still growth that needs to happen, but it's very encouraging being here.
Yeah. And I have to laugh. We are 2 booths down from Red Hat. And so again, there's a lot of people who use open source, but don't really understand how do you contribute. And at the panel, someone said, no, you don't show up to a community with 10,000 lines of code and a big problem to solve. That's not how it works. And so really like just breaking it down, how does it work? And so Red Hat often would start these conversations, and then they would send them to us. And we had so many people say, Red Hat sent me, Red Hat sent me. So it's pretty funny. Great. Any other thoughts, comments on Grace Hopper? No. Oh.
I have one question, Robin.
Yeah.
Is it something you think we should do again?
You know, we've been having conversations this week. Yes, for sure, because I think some of the connections and just the program ideas, I don't think I would have understood or made those connections elsewhere. I'd like to see sort of our training and certification play more of a role. We had an open source dinner last night where we talked about, we feel like there needs to be more tech in the tech conference. There clearly was an appetite for the hackathons. And the sessions are getting lighter and lighter on tech from what we're hearing from some of those participants. So I think we at the Linux Foundation would sort of love to partner with them and bring more of our technical community folks and maintainers into Grace Hopper. So they not know just how to use our tech, but to sort of be that sort of future sort of pipeline. So the theme is next is now, which I think is pretty cool. So, but yeah, I would do it again. It's just the scale of how we can reach these folks. I don't think I could get 75 people to show up for a Node hackathon, depending on who we invite. So they definitely have that sort of brand power to get people excited about technology. So. Cool. So just want to give a shout out this week is the OpenViz Collab Summit. Carto, who's a big community member of that, it was the former Urban Computing Foundation, and now they're a part of us, but they're hosting that event, and I'm excited to see they're rolling up their sleeves and working on some interesting issues. So if you're interested, hit that GitHub link and you'll see what they're working on, and then we'll be reporting out, but they're today and tomorrow Madrid time. And we have the Collab Summit with Nodejs adjacent to NodeConf EU coming up as well. Again, hit that summit link. I think the content is pretty much being published. If you need help getting there, we have a travel fund. I know the CPC and maintainer folks would love to have more folks solving some good, important issues.
Something I want to add that there is a discount code for the conference if you are coming to the Collab Summit. and it's linked. It's written in the issue. It's a little bit of an Easter egg, so you can find the code. I need to click because I don't remember by hand. But maybe we can add it on the slides or something after it or whatever. I just dig it out and maybe we can add
Kylie,
it just
maybe,
in case people wants to do both.
Kylie, maybe we do a pinned tweet.
Yeah,
And keep it up there until the event.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it that way. Great. Cool. I think Sarah mentioned our event strategy is sort of a work in progress, prioritizing in a budget, and we're gathering feedback. We reconvened our program committee and getting more thoughts from those folks and all of the others. So stay tuned on that. All right, Kylie, up on marketing.
All right. Just a quick update for me on some metrics. I'm really excited this month. If you can see on the screen grab on the right, all of our numbers at the top there are in the green, which is really exciting. They've kind of been a little bit wavering into the red. So just really excited to see all of our numbers going up and the engagement from the community. It's been super great. So we are at 85,000 impressions this month on our Twitter. We did 12 tweets so far in the month of September and 19.3K profile visits. So those are going up, I think, due to a lot of the collaboration we've had with a lot of the other community members, getting a lot of love on our Nodejs blogs. So thank you everyone for engaging with those and keeping our engagement high. So we really appreciate that. We can go to the next one, Robin.
Yeah, I think the Node.js Twitter handle just went from 750,000 to 800,000 followers just in the last month or so. It's amazing. So yeah.
Okay, so LinkedIn also seeing some good stuff from there, included our stats. So up 2% from last month on our page views, and then unique visitors up 29% from last month, which is great. You can see kind of how things wavered throughout the month in that chart. And here's just one of our posts that we got a little bit of love on there too. So slowly but surely kind of gaining some more traction on LinkedIn as well.
All right, cool. Thanks, Kylie. So quick update on training and certification. We had a splash page with the Linux Foundation for a discount for the Grace Hopper conference this week. So that was pretty cool. It's actually applicable across the entire LF catalog, but just highlighted some of the foundations who are pretty active in planning the Grace Hopper conference. But again, if there's anything in that catalog that you're interested in, you can use that Grace Hopper code through October 7th. The team that's working on the training and certification, the folks on the platform and the developers and program team and training are working on further updates to update the certification to Node 18. So you'll see that come out in the coming month. Also working and building in additional time, a timer into the platform for people with accessibility needs. I didn't mention here, but we're still working on tackling some areas to make it easier for international translations as well. So hopefully that just makes the exam just easier to take for folks where English or Chinese are not their native language. Great. And that's all we have today. Is there any other business we wanted to cover today, team? So yeah, busy month. Yeah, special thanks to Kylie. She was just producing some great marketing content. There's so much wonderful activity happening with our maintainers and in our communities. It's really fun to see all that go live. Cool. So Sarah Jane, you want to close us out?
Absolutely. Thanks everyone who presented. This meeting stands adjourned. It is 9:05 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.
So let me close the stream.
Thank you.